What is good, everybody on YouTube? It's your boy Akil McLeod back with another live video. Hope everybody is doing well this week. This was definitely a very busy week in terms of just the resale game, just these different businesses that we're trying to get lifted off the ground. It's been a very busy week, but I think when you're busy and you're productive, it's always a good thing. So I'm definitely not going to complain about that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Bounty Nomad in the chat. Definitely always appreciate the support. My man said he's gonna do some listing on eBay while watching. Shout out to Ryan from Footwear House. What's good? How you feeling? Derek, what's going on, bro? How's everything going on with you? Today is definitely going to be another live call-in show. So everybody that, whether you want to just chop it up, whether you got a solid question or you just want to, just chop it up and just hop into the chat, be a part of the show. I put the link in the description of this video, and I also put the link in the chat as well. So you guys can feel free to just hop in and join the show. I don't necessarily have anything planned for this particular week. As you guys can see, this week I didn't really put out too much YouTube content. I was really just focused on these different businesses, trying to just make sure everything flows well. And for me, I know I'm one of those people that I wasn't really Jay Brown is in here too. What's going on, bro? How you feeling? What's good? I know for a fact I wasn't necessarily just feeling to just put a bunch of content out. And I know I'm one of those people, I try to put out as much content as possible, but for the most part, I do try to take a little time to myself where I'm just kind of regrouping, I just downloaded some new editing software as well, just so I can kind of switch up my video styles, switch up the video content, and just to provide more value for you guys. So that's what I've been working on just this week. Drop a comment. Let me know how you guys' sales have been. I know for myself at first, I was going to actually make a video about this, but I figured I might as well just wait and just talk about this during the live stream for anybody that might need any other assistance in terms of overall sourcing. So for me, sourcing this week has been kind of slow. I'm not going to say the stores haven't been restocking. I'm not going to say, it's just really dry out there. For me, I know I just haven't been going out as early as I used to, and not as consistently as I used to. At the end of the day, it's always a trade-off when you're an entrepreneur. You can either spend all your time sourcing, spend all your time listing. There's always something that you can do. But for me, I took this week to kind of scale back in terms of the sourcing, really trying to go just pay attention to the analytics, right? So in terms of the eBay store, one thing that I realized, and I kind of was neglecting it. So one of those things where in terms of the eBay store, eBay always tells you your active listings, right? And they tell you when they're about to end. And if you don't actually end your listings manually, they'll automatically just relist it with the same eBay number. And depending on what your eBay store is set up to be, you can have a ton of listings. You can have a really big enterprise store. You can have a really small basic or starter store like myself. I have a basic eBay store. So just over these past few weeks, since I wasn't going out to source, this is coming from somebody that sources every day. Since this week, I kind of scaled back in terms of sourcing. One thing that kind of helped me maintain consistent sales was that every day this week, I continuously would end the listings and then relist them with a fresh eBay number. Now, I know I was telling people this is a really good tip or really good way if your sales are kind of slow to just manually do that. That way, you'd get somewhat of a boost in search because it's a brand new listing to eBay. And once it's a brand new listing to eBay, you can always get like a slight boost in search. eBay would usually say it's newly listed, so it'll kind of let people know that that your sales are. It'll basically let people know that item was just listed. So that's something that I've really been paying closer attention to. And I've seen that my sales, I've been having some items that's been sitting for a very long time, super long. And just by editing some listings, ending them and using the sell similar option to relist those items, I've been seeing a lot of growth in terms of sales because the items that were kind of stale, kind of just not really moving, thankfully by me just taking more control of the listings, I've been able to shift more. I've been able to convert more sales. Some items I priced myself way out of the market. I'm one of those people. I always tell people practice patience, and by practicing patience, you can find yourself, you can just find yourself not necessarily, staying on top of your eBay store. And I always tell people that's super, super important. You have to be on top of your store by all means, whether that means you're listing every day, whether that means you're editing and relisting stuff, taking fresh pictures. You have to be heavily involved if you want your store to grow and you want your store to, convert sales. And since I'm not a huge fan of having a huge store, I have to be very, very on top of the business to make sure that my items that are listed will actually get sold. So that's what my focus has been on through this week. I'm just trying to make sure that, some of these items that I've had for months at this point, just trying to make sure those items go. And the other big reason why I'm not sourcing as much, and I think this could be a helpful tip for a lot of people out there as well. I told you guys, my wife and I were planning on purchasing our first home. So in terms of the overall expenditures for the month, I'm trying to keep them as low as possible. That way I can have more cash for, once it's time for the down payment, the closing costs, any renovations that you might want to do. So I'm trying to have cash flow. I'm not a huge fan of having cash flow. I rather have product or merchandise in order to flip and just continuously flip that money. But right now I'm definitely trying to be more cash heavy, trying to make sure I hold on to that. So that's another reason why I haven't been going out to source as heavily. So drop a comment if you guys have been in a similar situation as well. Just in terms of trying to monitor your spending, because people ask me those questions all the time. How much do I spend in a month, or what's my budget for the day? And I never had a budget. I never budgeted myself. If I had a budget, if I went out to the store and I saw a good deal, I was going to grab it up. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be more frugal and more strategic with this spending. But let me see what's going on in the chat. Ryan says from Footwear House, what tools do you use for inventory? So in terms of tools, what would so I have bins. I label all of my bins so that I know exactly which ones, what item is in which bin. And I use the custom SKU to put the bin number on the custom SKU. The custom SKU, the buyer doesn't see that. That's just for us, so we can see, we can basically just track our inventory that way. That's the only actual, I guess, tools that I use. I don't necessarily use any software or Excel or anything like that. For me, I don't necessarily have to do anything like that, because I have a relatively small store. Just about 5 to 550 items in total I carry in my store every given month. So for me, I don't necessarily track too much stuff that way using tools. Derek says sales are doing great. Just hit 10K monthly. That's what's up. Congrats on that. That's major. That is major. That is a major milestone to hit. And I just know once you start building up, on a monthly basis, making 10K, that's great. You know what I mean? It keeps that confidence going. It makes you want to keep pushing, and it kind of gives you that assurance that what you're doing is working. So just keep doing what you're doing, bro. That's what's up. That's real money right there. Let's see. Sales have been terrible on eBay, horrible, but I haven't been as active in there either. So StockX and Goat kind of balance my week. So I'm doing all right, but eBay has been scary lately. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people think eBay is one of those platforms where you can just set it and forget it, but you definitely can't do that. I told you guys I just started listing on Mercari as well. And with Mercari, I thought it was more of like a set it and forget it situation, kind of similar to eBay, but with Mercari, you definitely have to be super active in there as well. I send offers to likers on Mercari, mainly because I'm a new seller. I think I have maybe 5 or 6 sales at this point. So I definitely still have to, try to push product and just build up my reputation on the platform. So for me, eBay and Mercari is definitely not like a set it and forget it type of platform. So as you know, you said it yourself, you wasn't active in it. So that's kind of just what's going to happen. But that's the beauty of listing on multiple platforms. When one is not doing that well, the other ones will balance it out. And thankfully you on StockX and Goat. I'm not on Goat yet. I keep saying I got to get on there, but Mercari is the latest addition to the platforms I started getting on. So far so good. We'll see how it continues to grow. Let's see. For me, sales have been really slow on Posh. Yeah, I feel you. I'm slowly but surely running out of items in my Poshmark closet, and I'm super thankful that once everything is listed, once everything is sold in my Poshmark Closet, I highly doubt that I would be relisting more products on there, only because the fees. When I really sat down a couple months ago at this point, sat down and really crunched the numbers, that 20% fee, especially when you're dealing with more expensive items, you know what I mean, that 20% is just too much. And the majority of my items in my store is like 70 to 80 bucks. I'm spending way more money on items now than I was compared to when I was thrifting everything. So I can't necessarily afford, you know, to take out 20%, an immediate 20% cut from a, you know, $100 item. It doesn't make any sense for me. So Poshmark was definitely good. It definitely helped me increase my sales overall when I was selling clothes. But since I've transitioned like away from clothing, it's definitely not the move for me. It's not the way for me. But I hear it all the time. People say sales are so super slow on that platform. I'm pretty sure they're improving or trying to improve, but we'll see. eBay has been steady, but Poshmark is slow. Once again, absolutely. Okay, we got somebody in the chat. Somebody, Sable Eye. Let's see. What's going on, Sable Eye? You are live. What's going on? All right. Sable Eye was in and out. Sable Eye, I remember that Pokemon. I remember that. But yeah, like I said, someone else says Poshmark is very slow in Canada. Poshmark is slow. It's the platform is dying out. The platform is struggling. It's definitely struggling. A lot of people that was doing really well on that platform. A lot of people are not as high on it as they used to be. I think now, especially with the pandemic and everything, and all these people being able to, just the like the everyday person that would usually buy a couple items here and there a week, you know, willing to spend money on clothes. You can get clothes so cheap now, brand new with tags. So, you know, Poshmark, that void that they were kind of filling in terms of like selling your clothes really cheap and just kind of just kind of moving kind of cheap product really quickly, that void is no longer kind of needed. So I think they kind of have to switch up the platform a little bit in order for them to kind of see some growth. I think Macari did a lot of good stuff in the sense of as soon as I feel like they rolled out just different categories really quickly, they added a processing fee, so I didn't necessarily care for that. But Macari, I'm always seeing Macari commercials on YouTube, on TV. So we'll see if Poshmark turns it around. But for now, they are slow. Let's see. Hello, all Delaware here. Sales have been slow on eBay and Poshmark. Trying to build up my listings. That's the game plan. That's the focus. Especially if you're a new seller, you want to make sure that you're focusing on quality items. You want to focus on the items that people want. Focus on the items that are trending. Seasonal items always do well, especially if you're selling clothing. You want to focus on coats, jackets, boots. Just pay attention to those types of things and you'll definitely see success. You just don't want to do too many. And of course, you want to focus on the comps. When I say the comps, I mean the comparative sold listings. You want to make sure you're selling items that are popular. And I think that's a big thing. I know for myself, that was something I was not doing enough of early on. I wasn't, buying enough items that was popular. So it was making my sales kind of slow down in the sense of me not being able to move product fast enough. But if you're selling popular products, popular brands, you'll definitely see an increase in sales. So hopefully those few little tips help you out and you can keep getting this money. Let's see. Becky Shep, is DSW a good store to source from? I definitely haven't been sourcing in DSW. I went maybe 2 or 3 times. The funny thing is, I remember when I was younger, I used to go there for the mall, and like the DSW was in the mall. So I would go to the mall, go in there, see if I can find some shoes on the clearance section. Every once in a while, they might have like shoes 70, 80% off, sometimes 90% off. So I would definitely go there and try to grab up some of those deals. Since I started reselling, I haven't really been in DSW enough to see if it's a good place to source. But like I said, there's deals in there where you can get shoes 70, 80, 90% off. The downside to a lot of those clearance items is that they're usually worn. I don't know if they have the box top. So similar to like a Nike outlet situation, but I mean, I'm sure if you go in there often enough, you'll be able to kind of spot out which items are good, which items are bad. But I know personally, I haven't necessarily sourced in there, but excuse me, I know they give a lot of deals. And I was in there buying stuff for myself, especially when I was getting dress shoes and boots and stuff like that. You could definitely get a lot of good deals on stuff like that. Let's see. Darren M. How do you handle new shoes sold that are returned for a full refund, not as described, but the customer has worn them and they can't be sold as brand new again? That's a very good question, because this situation literally just happened to me. Just last week, this happened to me. I was gonna make a video on it, but I don't want to keep making videos in the sense of like, oh, I don't want to keep making scam videos, right? I don't want to keep saying, oh, I got this buyer tried to scam me, this seller tried to scam me. I don't want to keep doing that. But that situation literally just happened to me. So in a nutshell, what happened is I picked up a pair of Air Max 270s. I even put it in a what sold video. It was a pair of 270s. I think they were the Regency colorway, and it was a youth size. So it was like a purple and orange shoe. Really dope, really clean. Picked it up brand new for $40. Once I picked them up, I listed them for $100. So it was a decent amount of profit margin for me to, list them and get them going. They sold within like 3 days of me listing it. So I thought for myself, really quick sale, didn't even think that it was gonna be a scammer. 3 days later, the buyer not even three, this was maybe a week later, the buyer finally gets the shoe, and they take a picture of the bottom of the shoe and says, oh, the shoe was worn. The shoe was clearly worn. They even said something like, I paid an extra $8 for expedited shipping. And you guys know, I always tell you guys, shipping for me is free. I try to just bake in the cost of shipping into the item. So they ended up paying, they were just, made up a whole bunch of stories in their reason for wanting to return the shoe. So clearly all that means the person tried the shoe on, they probably walked around the town a little bit, and either the shoe didn't fit, and once they realized they had to pay for return shipping, they probably just said, I'm gonna just say something's wrong with the shoe. So I got the shoes back. The shoes were definitely dirty, worn on the bottom. And what I did is I called eBay immediately. I called eBay before I even received the shoes, kind of let them know, so they put it in the system. So once I called and I received the shoe, they already had a note about that actual shoe. So that was something that worked in my favor. I got the shoes. The shoes were dirty. And then I gave them a partial refund. The person on the phone, customer service, told me you can refund them up to 50%. The max is 50% that you can do. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do, because the shoes can't be sold as brand new anymore. So literally gave them a partial refund for $50. And of course I have the shoe now, but I can't list the shoe as brand new. And honestly, I could have gave them a little more money back in terms of a refund, but I know how eBay works in the sense of, if I give them back 50 and the buyer complains, eBay's going to cover them and give them the full refund anyway. They already told me that I was covered and I had nothing to worry about. If I can do 50 and I'll be fine. So that's something you could do. Just utilize the partial refunds. And once you utilize the partial refund, you're actually going to be reporting the buyer to eBay as well. So it's basically a win-win situation. So you really can just go ahead and do that, and hopefully that works. I mean, these scammers are out here, people. I don't offer free shipping. So, and once somebody realizes they have to spend, $7-8 to return the item, if they're not happy with it, they're going to try to say whatever they need to say in order for them to get the shoes back to you for free. And a lot of people know that if you open up a return case and say not as described, people know about that swindle already. So that's just something you got to be more cognizant of, but it is what it is. Let's see. Would you recommend selling on OfferUp? Absolutely. OfferUp is a good platform. I'm one of those people. I don't do a lot of local sales. I don't do a lot of in-person sales. I love the fact that you can just sell online and not even have to, deal with any people in person. But OfferUp is really good, especially if you like negotiations and stuff like that. Only thing is, I know a lot of people flake on OfferUp. So like you would say, meet up at Starbucks at 6 o'clock, and you're at Starbucks at 6, and then they never show up. They never tell you they're not coming. So that's something to be a little wary of. But definitely OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist still. It's a lot of good ways to flip stuff. I'm actually going to be selling some stuff locally myself. I actually picked up a workout bench from Ross. I picked up 2. This was maybe a month ago, maybe a month or 2 months ago at this point. This is when the gyms were still closed, and they had a bench in the gym. They had a bench in Ross for like $35. And this, of course, when all the gyms were closed across the country, weights and any workout equipment was super, super expensive. So I picked up the bench. I bought 2. I bought one to keep for myself, and I was gonna flip the other one. I never even listed it. It's literally just sitting in a corner right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and list that on some maybe OfferUp or Craigslist, and probably sell it for. If I picked it up for 35, I'll probably flip it for like 70 or 80 bucks, because it's a solid bench. It's definitely good. And see if I can get just a little cash on there. But I don't necessarily care for the in-person flips like that. It's definitely not something I love. eBay sneaker authentication thoughts. This is something else I was going to do a video on. And I did touch on this last week in the sense of kind of like a breakdown on it. So for those that aren't necessarily familiar, eBay partnered with the SneakerCon app. And SneakerCon is one of those events that they have. It used to be almost like once a month. It would just be like a traveling, almost like a traveling trade show, you can say, but it's a place where people can buy and sell shoes. So while I was doing that research for SneakerCon, SneakerCon definitely, they partnered with eBay to kind of do their own sneaker authentication. Now, in terms of how it's going to play out, like the actual logistics of it, I think it might be based on photos, or it might be, I highly doubt eBay is going to have a StockX system where you're going to be shipping out items to an eBay warehouse. They're going to authenticate and then ship it out to the buyer. I think that's going to be super, super pricey. There's a few other apps that do authentication, but they just use photos. So I think eBay is going to do something very similar to that, where they might, and the thing is, they say they're only going to authenticate shoes over $100. So we're talking about, brand new shoes or shoes that are, highly sought after. Those types of shoes, I think they're going to only be doing the authentication for. But I think it's a good first step. I know they rolled out authentication for watches as well, and watches and, baseball cards, a lot of stuff. The market has shifted for a lot of these different things, and people want more information. People want to make sure that what they're buying is authentic, because nowadays, especially with shoes, you could hardly tell the difference between replicas and the genuine pair. So I think they're going to probably go with the photos, and probably maybe ask for additional photos before you actually ship out the item. Not exactly sure. They didn't give too much information in terms of how the logistics are going to be, but I think overall for eBay, it's going to be really good. It's going to be just something to bring more buyers to the platform, to kind of secure buyers' trust. And the thing with eBay is that eBay just needed to do that. eBay needed to kind of shed that, that bad reputation. So many people have gotten scammed and lost money, and got scammed overall, just bad experiences with eBay. So I think it'll be dope that what they're doing is trying to just flip the narrative a little bit. Now let's see, if an item arrives to the buyer damaged, who files a claim with the shipping carrier? So you would have to file that claim with the carrier, and as long as you shipped it out priority, I think it's an automatic like $50 insurance. If it's something that's kind of pricey, or something that can potentially be damaged, you might want to file. You might want to purchase more insurance, but it's definitely on the seller. It's on the seller to file a claim with the postal service. But like I said, if you shipped it out priority, you automatically have up to $50 insurance. So, and they usually pay out insurance claims really, really fast when it comes to stuff like that. If it was damaged or anything like that, they usually give you the money sometimes within 7 days. You usually will get that money back. Let's see, Hot Flip Heidi just got done sourcing, excited to find the call in happening. That's what's up. Call in. Let me throw the link once again. That's the link to call in if anybody is interested. Let's see. I've been finding better shoes at Marshalls than Ross, and I see your vids, and you find these really good things to sell. Does it matter on how many Rosses you go to, or do you wait for the Ross to restock? So I have about maybe 4 or 5 different Rosses in my area, different Ross locations. I would usually go to one at least every day, sometimes 2 because they're not too far apart. So sometimes I might hit 2 or 3 different Rosses in a day. Just this week, I wasn't really sourcing as heavily as I usually do because I'm kind of trying to scale back in terms of sourcing. I got a ton of inventory, so I don't necessarily need to source right now. But at the same time, I think it's just better to just go. You can do 2 things. You can, one, just talk to the people at the store, try to pick their brain, see if they'll tell you when stuff is going to be restocked, or tell you when they're going to be new stuff is coming out. Sometimes I'll talk to the manager. Sometimes I'll talk to the person, basically the person that is restocking the shelves. Might ask them. I might ask the person at the register. I might ask all of them the same day just to see if it's true. Some people might not know something and they'll just want to give you an answer. So I kind of just ask everyone just to kind of fact check. And then the more you go, the more you figure it out when's the best time to go in your city. But for me, I just try to go as often as possible. You really never know what they're gonna have. To me, Ross is just like a thrift store. You might find a crazy pair of sneakers one day, and then you might find a crazy jersey the next, and who knows? You know what I mean? But definitely, you definitely just want to go super consistently when it comes to Ross, because they restock. Some Ross is restock in the morning, some restock at night. It's just kind of tricky that way. When you go sourcing, do you buy youth sizes? Absolutely, youth sizes all the time. Because the thing is, when I do buy youth sizes, especially if it's like a woman's shoe, if it's a kid's shoe and it's like a 6Y or 7Y, basically the scale is if it's times 1.5. So if it's a men's shoe, no, well, not times 1.5, add 1.5 sizes. So if it's a size 7Y, that translates to a size 8.5 in women's. So what I do is I'd list it either in the women's or the youth category, depending on the shoe. And then I'll have the conversion in the description, and I might even have the conversion in the title. That way, when somebody's searching for that particular shoe in a particular size, my item still does pop up. Because there's a lot of women that, they buy youth sizes or they buy the youth shoe because it's cheaper. So it's easier for them to try to just scoop up a deal that way. So yeah, and even in Ross, sometimes that shoe I was talking about earlier today, the pair of 270s, those were size 7Y, and I listed them as a women's 8.5. And the good thing is that shoe sold again. Like as soon as I relisted the shoe after the person sent it back to me, I tried to clean it up. I listed it as pre-owned. I said the shoe was worn once, and it sold shortly after that. So definitely still made some money on that. But overall, youth shoes, can't go wrong with listing youth shoes. And people spend money on shoes for their kids all the time. So if you find a dope youth shoe, list it, put the conversion size for women as well, and just wait for the right buyer to come along. I made some good money with youth shoes, especially since Ross usually sells them a lot cheaper. I've even sold like Vapor Max in size 7Y, and I got it for $40 and flipped it for like $150. So definitely check out the youth section. Let's see. I don't think I see any other questions. We might be doing a short live stream today because, like I said, I didn't really come prepared with any topic in mind. But I have the chat. I have the link in the chat if you guys are interested in hopping in and wanting to hop into the show. But if we don't have any other questions, I can just do a short live stream today and just try to get back on doing some more videos this week. I was telling you guys I've just downloaded some new software just so I can start editing my videos a little differently. I also want to start incorporating more topics. I know I've been tinkering with the idea of doing more fitness related content and more like vlog style stuff. And I think the thing with me is I'm one of those people, I try to just live in the moment. And I know with vlogging, you kind of have to, document your life as you go and trying to highlight certain things. And for me, it's just not really my thing, but I want to do a little more on YouTube and just kind of get me more excited about doing it. So I want to start incorporating more stuff. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm putting it out there, letting y'all know so y'all could kind of hold me accountable to it. So that way I can start putting out more content. Because for a while, I think I was just using just iMovie to edit my videos. And I just got whatever that thing is called for Apple, Final Cut Pro. I just downloaded Final Cut Pro. So my videos, the quality overall, the editing quality should go up quite a bit over these next few weeks. I'm gonna start tinkering with it because editing videos and editing content is gonna take a little while for me to get better with it, but I'll start tinkering with it and start putting out more content for you guys. Let's see. Do you still thrift used high-end footwear? Absolutely. Absolutely. If I can go to the thrift, I still go to the same thrift stores that I always was going to. I don't go to Goodwill and Savers because their prices are crazy and I just don't want to support them. But when it comes down to like the local little mom and pop thrift stores, I go in there all the time. And if I find something good, I'll definitely pick it up. I think when I go more often than not, I usually would leave with hard goods, either like some type of speaker, some type of cell phone, or not cell phone, but some type of landline phone. I usually pick those up because those flip kind of fast for me. Anytime I'm in the thrift, I'm usually finding hard goods instead of clothing and shoes. So that's definitely the thing. That's what when my eye goes to now when I'm in thrift stores. Of course, I still check shoes because you never know, but you really just never know what you'd find in thrift stores. And plus, since we're going to be trying to furnish this house, a lot of the stuff I'm going to be getting is from the thrift. A lot of like little antique stuff if I can find, just little stuff to kind of decorate the house overall. Maybe not furniture, but little random stuff to just make the household look a little better. Let's see. What software did you download? It's called Final Cut Pro. So it's for Apple. I have an Apple laptop, so that's what I've been using. And Final Cut Pro it was either going to be Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere. I chose Final Cut Pro because I only have the trial for now because I kind of want to test it out, see if I like it. But it was like a free 90-day trial, so I just went with that, downloaded it. Didn't even try editing any software, any videos yet, but that's what it is. Final Cut Pro. The secret to being successful in this business is inventory, and more inventory. Absolutely. That's a fact. You got to have solid inventory. If you don't, you can almost tell when people don't have quality inventory in their stores when they say things like, I haven't made a sale in months. Like, to me, that means you either don't have enough inventory, or the inventory you have or is just very niche, or you might be selling super expensive items and you might just make one sale a month. Some people do that too, but it's always a red flag when someone says they haven't made sales and in a whole month they haven't made any sales. To me, that's a red flag. It just means your inventory, you just need to improve it. But that's a fact. The secret to success is there's just better inventory. What's the name of the microphone? Do you recommend? Absolutely. This is the Blue Yeti Blackout Pro. I think, the Blue Yeti Pro, and it's the Blackout edition. At the time, I spent like $70 for this mic. It was a very budget-friendly microphone. Now, of course, with the pandemic and everybody working from home, I think these mics are like $200 now. For $200, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you could get it used, go for it. But some of those other microphones, too expensive for me. Did you put an offer on a house yet? So I put 2 offers in. We lost out on both houses. So we seen another one today. I'm going to be putting an offer on that one because we do like it a lot. Really good area. So definitely put some prayers up there for your boy. I know I didn't necessarily like pray about any of the previous houses. I didn't really put out enough positive energy. So I'm definitely trying to make sure we secure this house because my lease ends pretty soon. So we got to find something. I'm not going to settle for, a hole in the wall or a house in the hood. I'm not trying to do that. But, just got to be super positive and, just wait for the right one. But we put an offer in, we putting in another one today. So hopefully we get it. And I'll be showing you guys some videos. You coming in over ask? Absolutely. Coming in over ask. Not expecting them to cover any closing costs, but it's still tough. It's people that it's a lot of investors that are especially coming into Arizona. And for them, if the house is on sale for $320, $350, they're saying $375. And if I'm going, $5,000 or $10,000 over and they're going $20,000 over, I can't compete with that. I refuse to even compete with that. So that's what's been happening a lot in the Arizona area in particular, but it is what it is. Like I said before, we're just going to stay positive and Just the right house for us, we'll get it. Would you spend 20 to make $10 profit? That's a good question. Personally, I wouldn't do that, only because I tried to. The thing is, I've done that. I've definitely done that. So I'm not gonna say it's a bad idea. I just try not to do stuff like that. There's been times where I've purchased an item for $20 with the intention of doubling up my profit and thinking I would get, 50. So say I bought it for 20. My plan was to sell it for 60, and I would leave with 20 after shipping and fees. The comps change, the market shifts, then you no longer can make all that money. So at the end of the day, you end up losing out on profit, and you might only make $10. So sometimes that does happen, but I don't go into something initially spending 20 with the expectation to make 10. I always try to shoot up a little higher and just, aim higher, because the comps will always change, especially when you're dealing with stuff from Ross and outlets. The comps change so fast. And there's some people that are happy with making $2 profit. There's some people that are happy with just selling the item and breaking even. So for me, I just try to, just aim a little higher. Like I said, nothing wrong with spending 20 and making 10, because that's one of Walmart's specialties right there. Do you ever set weekly or monthly goals or goal posts that you set to stay motivated and keep on track with listing, sourcing, etc.? No, I probably should. That's something good that I probably should. For me, I'm like, the thing is, I know myself, right? So I know if I was to set a specific goal and said I need to make, 15,000 this month or 20,000 this month, and if I don't hit that goal, I'm gonna be stressed out. I'm gonna be disappointed in myself. So I try to limit the type of goals that I set. I try to just set goals that I set for myself is stuff like, make sure you go to the gym, like something like that. I always tell myself. But in terms of like setting monthly goals, in terms of like listing and sourcing, I try not to. But setting goals and writing it down and having vision boards, all those stuff is always super, super helpful. When I first started out on eBay, when I very, very first started out, I set a lot of listing goals and a lot of sourcing goals. I would tell myself, I have to find at least like $1,000 in inventory this week, and I have to list, X amount of items, whatever it might be. And I just found myself just with that added pressure. I just found myself just being kind of just uncomfortable and not necessarily liking that feeling of putting the added pressure on myself, because I already apply a ton of pressure to myself. So for that reason is why I didn't. But in the beginning, I used to do that for sure. Have you made any sales on Posh lately? It's crazy. I sold a pair of Harachis on there for $20. I had them listed for 20 because they were pretty beat. So I listed them for 20. Someone just bought them and cashed out, didn't send any offers or anything. I had a Joe Flacco Baltimore Ravens jersey. I think I had that up for $15. Someone sent me an offer for 12, and I accepted that. And I had that jersey for like maybe 3 years, maybe 2 years. I had it while I was in California. I remember picking that jersey up for $3. So I still made profit on it. At the time, I think Flacco was still on the Ravens. So since then, he's left. But, just my very, very small stuff I'm selling. I don't have a ton of stuff listed. I have less than 50 items in my Poshmark Closet now. So I don't expect to make a ton of sales or a ton of money. I'm just trying to sell stuff out and move in and just move over. I mean, move on. That's what I should say. I've got one of those I don't need. The Blue Yeti, listed, definitely listed. Those type of stuff, these Blue Yeti microphones, people are clamoring for these types of stuff. Webcams, I found a webcam that was super old. It was like a 2 megapixel webcam. Picked it up for like $3 in the thrift and sold it for $50. This was in one of my previous What Sold videos. This is maybe during the summer. Very old, very cheap webcam. But at that time, people was wanting microphones and webcams. So I sold it, and it sold for big money. So definitely want to do that. Shout out to the wife. She's in the chat. Dom is in here. Let's see. Do you think it's good to take old inventory back to the store and get store credit and buy new inventory? I mean, to me, it's all the same. If it's probably better to return it, probably get cash back. But, store credit, all the same. It works just like cash if you're going to keep getting stuff from that store. The only thing with that is that I try to limit the amount of, returns that I do. only because I don't want to be that guy that, buys a bunch of stuff and returns a bunch of stuff, because they take note of that. They definitely, they realize what's going on with that. They try to, because it costs them money, just like with us. Why we hate returns, stores like Ross and all these other stores hate it too. And some of these managers, they take it personal, like it's coming out of their pocket. So I just try to limit the amount of returns that I do. Every month I just try not to do as much. I still return every once in a while, but for the most part, if for me, instead of returning it, I'll just lower the cost and take a little bit of profit, or just break even instead of just returning stuff. Because if you return too often, they're gonna start. I don't know how they will actually, like, how it might affect you. I just know that they don't like, the managers don't necessarily like that type of stuff. I know in the Nike outlets, you can't even return anymore. A lot of the Nike outlets in my area, they're what do you call it? The one in Tempe, I think all sales are final, so you can't even return. Same with Adidas, you can't even make returns for that same reason, because they know a lot of resellers. It's a very safe gamble. You buy from them. If you don't sell it in 30 days, you try to return it. So they're onto it. You know what I mean? So I just try not to do it. Let's see. What's your end goal with reselling? So that's a good question. The whole end game of it is, I know eventually, right now I'm doing this full time. I know eventually I'm going to go back. I just seen a $2.99 super sticker. That's what's up. Thank you very much for the $2.99. Definitely appreciate it. But yeah, so the goal with the reselling, I tell people all the time, reselling is something I'll probably always do forever, because it's an easy way to just, once you have an eye to spot quality, and the type of stuff that people want, and you can spot a good deal, you can always make money. That's a skill that you can always carry on with you and make money. For me, what I wanted to do was, one, use this income to purchase my first home, which I'm going to be doing. Two, the other goal was to funnel this money into another business, which my wife and I are also doing. And three was really just to get my bearings and build a foundation and learn business. And reselling is a very simple, like, in the grand scheme, it's a very simple business. I know it's not for everybody, and you need to put in a lot of sweat equity for you to be successful in it. But eBay already does the marketing for you. They already provide the platform for you. You don't need to pay. Yes, you're paying fees, but you're paying fees for the convenience factor of eBay and all of these platforms. All they're doing is providing the platform and providing the audience. If it wasn't for these platforms, we would have to pay for traffic to our websites, and we'd have to, still compete with Foot Locker and Finish Line and all these other stores. So for me, I've always viewed it as a very simple business model, and something that you can easily funnel cash into another business to do. So that's been my end game. And I'm not going to say I'm like approaching it to the sense of where I'm like going to be giving up on reselling. Because for me, I'll be in this game forever. I'll be that old dude in the thrift store, finding something, making sure that it works, and trying to flip it online. I'll probably be that guy forever. But, for me, I got into reselling kind of as it worked, because I quit my job without having like a game plan, in the sense of quitting my job and I'm going to apply to another job. I quit my job and I wanted it to be my last job. So I just wanted to figure out how I was going to make money and make ends meet. So I started reselling just to, make some cash and continue to pay the bills. And I realized I was really good at it. So I just kept going. So all in all, long story short, the end game is really just to, keep funneling this cash, because it's a business where if you have good credit and you have cash flow, you can make cash relatively quickly. So for me, I've just been trying to continuously funnel that cash into different businesses, more real estate, and just keep rinse and repeat. Just keep doing it and go from there. When would you update photos on your listings, either on eBay or Posh? So photos is one of those things where like, I'll go through my photos and make sure that it's well lit, make sure that I actually, got decent angles, and I made sure that it was appealing. But for the most part, I don't necessarily update my photos too often. Sometimes if I have a multi-listing item, say I have like 10 sizes in one shoe, and I'm down to one size left, then I'll go in and I'll update the listings, and I'll take a photo of the size tag for the actual shoe that I have left, and I'll change the whole listing and just, basically just market that one size. But in the beginning, it's kind of tough to do that. So that's usually the only time I would update photos as a whole. But honestly, for the most part, I think my photos are usually pretty good and on point, so I don't usually need to update it too often. Bounty Nomad Shop Inc. is officially an S Corp business now. Tax ID came this week. I'm hoping this is the start of something that's going to take my family far. Wish me luck, y'all. That's what's up. Congrats. Bounty Nomad Shop Incorporated. I love that. That's a dope name. That's what's up. I filed my S Corp the same way. I filed my business as an S Corp as well, just so I can be, paying myself monthly or bi-weekly, however you guys want to do it. I pay myself monthly, but it's definitely a good thing to just set up your business as an actual business. You know what I mean? If you want other people to take it serious, and if you want yourself to take it serious, I tell people all the time, get that LLC, just set up that business entity. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, whichever works best for you, set it up, make it official, take full advantage of all of the tax benefits that comes with owning a business, and, take it as far as you want to take it. You know what I mean? That's literally how people generate wealth and keep wealth. They start businesses, they start holding companies, they create these entities in order to, just shelter themselves from being heavily taxed. And that's the end goal. Shelter yourself from being heavily taxed, and shelter yourself from somebody trying to, sue you personally. We're reselling, so we're not like victims to being getting sued and stuff like that. But there's other business models where people, are in danger of getting sued all the time. So for them, setting up an LLC or setting up a S Corp is a necessity. They kind of have to do it. For us, we don't necessarily have to do it. We can just run as a sole proprietor and keep it going. But when you do that, you also run into other situations, especially if you're trying to do real estate. If you're trying to buy a home and you're a sole proprietor and you don't have these different business entities, you can write off whatever you want to write off as a sole proprietor. But at the same time, you write off too much, your income is going to seem too small, and you're not going to be able to even make bigger purchases like a home or a new car or whatever it is that you want. So it's pros and cons to everything, but it's just a matter of, once you decide to take your business and make it serious and take it serious, that's when you got to get that LLC, that S Corp, and just congrats, man. That's what's up. I love hearing when people, buckle down and say, I'm about to do this. I'm about to spend the money. I'm investing myself, and they make it happen. That's what else could you ask for? But I think that is all we got for today's show. Kind of a short show, but I usually stay on here for about an hour, but I think this was a solid show nonetheless. Like I said, stay tuned for more videos this week. I got this new editing software, so I'm gonna try to tweak it and try to make my video just a little more entertaining, just for myself, just so that I can feel more excited about creating videos and stuff like that again. So like I said, thanks for all the support. If you guys are interested in any of the consistency t-shirts, we got them in black and in white. First link is in the description for the t-shirts, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.